Hi there, crafty pals, welcome along. It's a Scrappy Challenge 5 with friends today, and I'm of course joining the fabulous Steph from my Scrappy Place. And we are using for our 5 items the paper pad, dies or punches, ephemera, tiny words, and gold glitter. So I have pulled a couple of things from my stash, and I'm quite inspired by the series that I've been using lately, which is the 3 old, 3 new. So it's kind of, instead of pulling out just a whole new collection to create with, it's a challenge to myself to actually pull out a combination of new and old products and get them to work together. So the paper pad is a DCWV which I picked up at Spotlight on special, and it was too cute to pass up, so I grabbed it and I have not used a single thing out of it. This was just the inspiration I needed to actually get this done. So, taking my tiny words and ephemera, I'm thinking about what I want to do. I've got this fabulous sort of teal light coloured paper with the stars on it, and I picked this photo because the colour of Master Cooper's shirt actually matches that background. He also is wearing a pair of pants on his head, so feel free to have yourself a great little chuckle about that. Hence why I grabbed a photo of this and why I'm creating it on a layout for his album. Now, the little tag theme again here, this is a bag of ephemera that I actually got from Steph. She was kind enough to give me the pieces that she no longer needed, and I'm going to use that bag of ephemera to put together some clusters. This layout took a completely different turn from how I expected it to go. You can see that I have used the small words, so one of the prompts was tiny words, and I've used Thicker's version because that's what grabbed me from my stash when I was putting this layout together. And I've also gone with gold glitter in the form of paper, so cardstock, because as much as I love glitter, I hate the mess. I just cannot do the mess. And I pulled out my die cuts here, but I realized that my die cutting machine is only the sort of, I think it's like 6x8 size. Anyway, it's a smaller one. So my 9x12 background piece of paper was not going to fit in there. And this sort of led me to think, well, how else can I use my dies on a background? And I went with good old-fashioned tracing. So using them like a stencil and drawing some stars on my background in the different sizes. And I definitely didn't have this as a plan going into this. I sort of have just taken elements from the prompts sheet. And this is the fun of this particular Scrappy Challenge, I think, is that you guys get to see how 5 products or 5 requirements can be interpreted in completely different ways. You know, I definitely could have done some die cutting for sure, but I had to improvise because it wasn't going to fit. So having a little bit more of a play around in terms of laying out my embellishments and where they're going to go now that I've got those stars in the background. So for my paper pad, I used the DCWV. That was the first prompt. That was my background paper. Dies and punches I've used in my background as a stencil. Ephemera, I have used the tags and the little bits and pieces from an older Cocoa Vanilla Studio collection. The tiny words are off to the side. They are the Thicker's version. And then I have got my gold glitter, which is my last prompt. So it's at this point where everything's going along swimmingly, and I start to think about this gold glitter and how I'm going to get that onto the layout. So I decided to cut out this star, and initially I was just going to cut out the 1 star and pop that gold glitter behind it, lay it over the top, and not get too complicated with how the layout was supposed to be. But it just wasn't working for me. I don't know why. I think the star was probably too big. I should have cut some of the smaller stars, not this massive big mama jamma in the middle there. So the plan was to back it and to put some pattern paper behind that cutout star. And honestly, I just really had problems once I cut that star out. This layout seemed to just develop a mind of its own, and I couldn't make it do what I wanted it to do, and I had to keep coming back to it. So even us scrapbookers that might have been around for a couple of years, let's not get into how many years we've been doing this because that's just scary. But you can see that sometimes we also have troubles. It's not all smooth sailing when it comes to putting a layout together. And I think part of that is because you can have a real image in your mind of how you want something to be, but it doesn't always turn out like that. And it's at this point where I start to really, not necessarily dislike, but the black is quite stark. So that black mounted behind the tealy turquoise colour, I don't know, it was not working on the background. So I figure I'm going to roll with this, and if this doesn't work out, well, I've got another sheet of this tealy turquoise coloured paper. I'll just go back to the drawing board and start again. So I'm going to outline my stars, and you can see that I don't actually want them to be perfect. I want them to be kind of grungy and overlapped. I definitely didn't want them to be super neat. So sometimes when I'm creating, I'll get this almost art journal-y kind of supplies out and make a layout that's a little bit different to a traditional scrapbook page. Off the side, I've got my gold glitter, which I had completely forgotten about in getting lost with how I was going to put these stars on the background. I had to come up with something to get that gold on, so I just tear a little strip of it and tuck it in behind. But I am going to get my gold glitter on later on down the track. Firstly, I decided that black paper that I used to back that cutout star, it needed to feature on the layout a little bit more. So I'm going to cut some different size stars, and I'm going to, again, just create some layers. So this is evolving, this particular page. I didn't have a set structure in mind. I didn't have a particular type of layout that I wanted to do. It seriously was just me sitting at my desk and having a play with the supplies that I'd pulled for this particular challenge. So I do go back to the gold glitter, and I'm going to do this a number of times because I'm going to make these tiny little stars that are going to feature as well. So I've got this whole star theme going on, and I needed to tie in the background with the cluster that I'd built. So the cluster is great, I'm happy with that, but the stars were sort of not doing it for me. I end up off camera sticking them down, and I pull out, this is a Art by Marlene glitter glue, and so it comes in these little tubes, and it's really easy to squeeze it exactly where you want it on the layout. So I'm actually inside my star lines drawing little glitter areas, and I'm being quite thick about them because I really want the gold glitter effect and the sparkle to tie this whole layout together. And I think I eventually get there, and I do end up with something that's actually half decent with the glitter and the black. It was definitely a challenge, but I do love this, and I hope that if you've picked up anything from this, it's that mostly everything is salvageable. It's just a matter of creating until you're happy with the end result. Now I do let that dry overnight just to really get that gold glitter to its glory. Once it's dry, it's clear in terms of the color, and then the glitter sparkles in the actual layout itself. Now I have a bit of a trouble with the blockage here, but I'm going to overcome that, and then when it's dry I'll show you what it actually looks like. I've added a little title just over that gold star, and simply going to add a couple of little star embellishments just to tie this whole thing together. So that is my share. It's the 5 with Friends Scrappy Challenge. I hope that you enjoyed, and that you'll now go over and check out Steph's layout featuring these 5 items. So thanks for watching.